Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Welcome once again sa ISIP-ISAK, and we would like to invite you especially to this very special and very reflective na session on this invisible illness. Ano po yun? Yung po ay yung bumabagabag, lalo na sa ating mga kabataan na nagkikitil ng kanilang mga buhay. Sa aming pong henerasyon, this is unheard of. And one of the greatest puzzles to me actually is bakit marami tayong mga kabataan na merong tendency na kitlin ang kanilang mga buhay. So we have asked one of our fellows, si Professor Alleli Domingo ng UP Los Baños. She is with the Mathematics and Sciences Department. And you may ask kung bakit siya po ay nasa ralangan po na ito ng counseling and helping mga mental health issues ng mga estudyante. Siya po ay naatasan ng university and she has had a great deal of experience accompanying many students as well as parents and families on how to deal with members of their family o mga childhood friends na ganun po ang problema. So tonight, we would like to invite all of you, especially kung kayo po ay very perplexed tungkol sa isyong ito, that you feel free to tell si Professor Alleli any questions that you may have. And we also have si Laya, who will tell us her story. It's a very engaging and very heartwarming na storya of what it means na bumangon sa ganitong illness. So I would like to ask si Marie to introduce them, silang dalawa at this time. Welcome po sa ISIP-ISAK.
Maraming salamat, Ate Melba. At magandang gabi muli po sa inyong lahat. So ngayong hapon na ito or gabi na ito, masasamahan tayo ng isang professor, associate professor po siya sa Institute ng Mathematical Sciences and Physics of the College of Arts and Sciences sa University of the Philippines, Los Baños. She obtained her Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics from UPLB, cum laude po itong makakasama natin, at Master of Science in Mathematics from Melbourne University, Australia. Alam niyo po, multi-awarded na guro ang kasama natin. She has had 2004 yung award niya ng UPLB Outstanding Teacher Award for the Physical Sciences, 2009 College of Arts and Sciences Distinguished Alumni Award for Teaching, the 2011 UP System Alumni Association Distinguished Alumni Award in Education Innovation, 2018 College of Arts and Sciences Outstanding Extension Personal Award, at noong 2019 UP Las Bañas Outstanding Extension Personal Award. Baka kung meron ding award ng pinakamahusay na guro at innovative na guro ngayong pandemic, baka ito'y maibigay din sa kanya. But you know, I believe her biggest reward and biggest award is that she is in a position to walk with students, especially when they're suffering from mental health issues. So kaya siya po ang ating bisita ngayong gabi. At kasama niya na makakausap natin mamaya sa discussion, pero ipapakilala ko na, kasama ni Ma'am Alleli Esther Domingo, ay si Layana Arioder. Siya po yung umawit kanina. At meron din siyang Facebook page. I-follow nyo din yan, Buhay Layana. Later, we will hear more from Laya. But at this point, pakinggan po muna natin si Ma'am Alleli sa kanyang presentation. Magandang gabi, Ma'am Alleli.
Good evening, Marie. Thank you. May I start sharing my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Feel free to share your screen na po.
Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Okay. So, may nagtatanong, ano daw yung invisible illness? Okay, mamaya natin makikita yon. That's how I write my name in baybayin, our ancient Philippine syllabary. And that's how we write Kolehiyo ng Agham at Sining at UPLB. Okay, we begin with the end in mind. Anong gusto nating maganap ngayong gabi? At the end of this forum, we should be able to identify the symptoms of depression, determine the causes of mental illness, explain the impact of excessive digitech, and monitor our health beat. Okay, so our discussion points will revolve around these questions. Who gets afflicted by the invisible illness? What triggers self-harm and suicide? When is mental distress prevalent? Where do we run for help in times of crisis? Why is excessive use of technology risky? How do we promote mental health or yung kalusugang pangkaisipan? So this is a proposition that I usually give my students. So a proposition is a statement that has one of two values but not both. It's either true or false. So I usually divide my class. Those who think this is true, go to this side. Those who think this is false, go to this side. And all of them think that this is a true proposition. So this is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So health. Tignan nyo ha, ang difference lang niya from wealth is the letter W. So now I give you an if-then statement. If you are not good in health, how can you enjoy your wealth? Okay. Then we have a categorical proposition now. There is no health without mental health. Before these mental health issues became the real burning issue in the campus, my hashtag was all education should be environmental education. But now it's this one. There is no health without mental health. And we are very glad that we now have a mental health law that was passed 2018. So it integrates mental health care in the public health system. So what are the mental health services available to all? This include psychiatric, neurologic, and psychosocial services. So please, if you have time, go through the law and the implementing rules. So you will know how to avail of the privileges because it protects our rights as citizens, to makes us avail of all the services offered. Before the pandemic, we were warned already that it's a VUCA world. So what does it mean to live in a VUCA world? So VUCA is the acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Okay, let me just dwell on this a bit. So when you say volatility, the changes that are happening are very rapid. Kumbaga, it's not just a simple change. Sa math, it would be the rate of change. Nag-accelerate siya, it's acceleration, the second derivative. Uncertain kasi hindi tiyak, no? Hindi we are not in the know kung ano talaga yung mangyayari. And then complexity, there are so many factors that are interconnected and ambiguous kasi malabo. Okay? Pagka ba nag-vaccinate tayo, masasave na tayo. Kunyari, ano, hindi natin alam kung totally ba immune na tayo from this COVID-19, for instance. Ganun, ka-ambiguous. Okay. So, mahirap mag-live. Although the world has been changing, kaya lang, ang difference lang from, let's say, to the 18th to the 19th to the 20th century, and 20th to the 21st is yung speed, yung bilis ng change na nakakawindang. Okay? So please take note of that, and we would like later at the end of the talk na how are we going to deal with these factors in a VUCA world. Okay? And of course, we all know that the pandemic has triggered yung cabin fever, yung talagang nakakulong tayo sa bahay. So nag-spike lalo yung mental health cases. So nag-overtime ngayon yung ating mga mental health workers because of that. And then they call it new normal even before the pandemic na there is a spike in depression among our teens. But with the pandemic, hindi na lang teens. No? And sensitive issues like self-harm and suicide, which I observed among my students even before the pandemic. Okay? So again, these are very sensitive issues, cyberbullying, pre-pandemic, ano na yan, uso na yan. body shaming, gender issues like sexual orientation, and gender identity expression. Magkakakonekta kasi, mayroong mga correlations itong mga issues na to dun sa anxiety at saka depression ng mga youth. No? I'm sure you're familiar with this. This is Disney's Beauty and the Beast. When I watched this, one line was indelibly written in my mind, and that line is from Belle. Sabi niya dun sa Beast, come into the light. Okay? So now we are going to have to gather all the courage that we can master para lang ma-face natin yung issue. We face the beast, kumbaga. Okay. You're familiar with this incredibly gifted young woman who recited her poem entitled "The Hill We Climbed" at the inaugural ceremony of President Biden. The last lines, actually, she struggled whether she's going to include it or not. Mabuti na lang in-include niya. I may not do justice to these lines, but let me just try. For there is always light if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Okay? And as faculty members, we exercise academic freedom, no? And we are asked to do it according to our own best lights. And if you have a belief system that Jesus is the light of the world and we reflect Jesus, so meron tayong i-shed na light. You are the light of the world. No? Our initiatives at UP Los Baños, I'm in charge, one of the main facilitators of what we call the seminar and teaching. Okay, this was in 2017. If you recognize, one of our ISAK fellows is Dr. Violeta Roman Bautista. So I was introducing her to the faculty members who just joined the staff, the teaching staff. Ang babata pa nila, no? And it's a week-long training for these new faculty members. And we insisted on including a session on addressing psychosocial needs of students. And talagang eye-opener sa mga faculty. Some of them, nung nakita nila yung gravity, sabi nila, oh, but we did not sign up for this. Parang kami talaga ang frontliners dyan sa issue na yan. Oo, kasi kami yung nakakakita ng supposedly nakakakita ng red flags sa mga estudyante namin. Okay? So, I tried to convince the faculty members, why do we have to pay attention to the emotional and mental wellness of our students? Kasi they were hard basically because they were experts at their own fields. Like they were the best chemistry graduates, for example. They were the best applied math graduates, best physics graduates. But hindi lang naman kasi yung subject matter specialization yung kino-communicate natin, di ba? Actually, we teach who we are and the students, their mental health plays an important role in their ability, confidence, and willingness to learn. I've already observed that. Kahit pa bago pa nangyari yung pandemic na to. Okay? Then we had our college. I was talking to our dean kasi I was tasked to interview yung mga nagpapa-readmit. And most of the causes of their readmission, kung bakit sila na-dismiss, is because of depression. Aside from, of course, yung addiction to the games, the computer games. So the dean asked the psych professors to come up with a program. And they came up with this solid grasp, safe spaces. Notice the date. It was launched on March 21, 2018. Series ito ng Fora. Okay. And the first part was a mental health forum for the students. Then we also had work-life balance sessions for the faculty members. Okay. This was held at our auditorium. I'll show you the slide. Our first speaker was a registered psychologist from, I think, UST, on the rising cases of depression and suicide. So Sir Argao helped us understand what depression is. It's different from sadness. Kasi lahat naman tayo nakakaranas ng sadness, but it doesn't mean we are depressed. Yung pag nag-protract na siya or nag-extend for more than 2 weeks, then medyo down na tayo doon. And it's a real illness. Hindi ito arte-artehan lang, hindi ito kulang lang sa pansin, na kagaya ng dinidismiss ng iba na, ay, kahanap lang yan ng pansin. And it is a disorder that affects everyone, regardless of gender, age, economic status, religion, race. And it's not always triggered by something. Okay, that's what he said. So depression can strike anyone. I hope you get that. Walang pinipili, and dahil sensitive nga itong topic, hindi ako pwedeng magpangalan, pero lahat ng sasabihin kong cases ay may kakilala akong very, very close na nangyari sa kanila. Bata, matanda, walang pinipili to. Male, female, rich or poor, student, teacher, believer, non-believer, pastor, pastor's kid, pastor's wife, Pilipino, anumang lahi, maging sino ka man. Wala talaga siyang pinipili. So, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, ay, hindi yan mangyayari sa akin. Wala talaga. And of course, na-raise yung consciousness natin kasi yung mga mayayaman and famous, like o yung mga artista, sina Robin Williams, sina Kate Spade, si Chef Bourdain, and also my favorite mathematician, si John Nash. Siyempre, na-highlight sila kasi na-film or sa news yung kanilang cases. But there are many who are not reported. Okay? And then the seminar, from seminar and teaching, we move to the new topic, seminar and facilitating learning. Kasi nga we are no longer the sage on the stage, we are now facilitating learning. We are the guide on the side. And our next speaker really made it very, very clear to us that it's a real issue. So buti na lang hindi available si Ate Bolet noon, kaya kumuha kami ng alternative na speaker. But even before he spoke, nagsalta na siya sa mas malaking audience sa auditorium. But on July 18, siya yung speaker namin on addressing the psychosocial needs, si Dr. Ben Vista. So chair din siya, aside from being a professor at UP College of Medicine. He also chairs the psychiatry department of Asian Hospital and the medical director of the One Algon Place, which is a behavioral health resource center in Cabuyao. He said that as teachers, pwedeng may generation gap kami with the students. Pwede ring wala. Pwede rin yung mga seasoned teachers talagang meron. But he said, whether we are young or old, pare-pareho tayo ng brain. Sabi niya ganon. And then he just differentiated yung prefrontal cortex where the executive site resides, and the amygdala where ito yung prominent pa sa mga teens, kaya hindi pa fully developed itong part na to. Ito yung kumbaga umaatake, kaya they enter into risky behavior, etc. More emotional sila and so on. So ang gusto ko, kasi meron siyang ginamit na handout para matandaan. Sabi niya, and I would like you, if you can see me, sabi niya, let's imagine our hand. Ito yung handout daw niya. Hand as the brain, di ba? Tapos ito yung frontal cortex, nandito yung amygdala. Okay, so sabi niya, pag nagwawala itong amygdala na to, kasi talagang ito yung talagang nagtitrigger ng mga emotional na decisions and so on, or emotional na, or mga risky na behavior. Or even among adults, sabi niya, i-control daw by covering it. So, para and it worked for me kasi whenever I get medyo angry or medyo sobra yung emotions ko, ginaganon ko talaga siya para makontrol ko at magre-rein ulit yung rational na part ng brain. Okay? So, and then Dr. Ben introduced to us the happy chemicals or the neurotransmitters. And para matandaan natin, I use Ni-reorder ko lang yung presentation niya para matandaan. Dose. D for the dopamine. This is the feel-good hormone. An example niya is, ito yung woo! Para kang, pagka may narinig mo yung cellphone mo tumunog, tapos may nag-like sa inyong pinost, ganyan. Or feeling mo, ikaw si Superman kasi nag-take in ka ng dopamine na drug. And then the oxytocin is the love hormone. Serotonin is the mood stabilizer. Ito yung automatic na pag nagkaroon ka ng affirmation or an award when you go up the stage, automatic na mag-i-straighten yung spine mo. That's the serotonin at work. Okay? And then the happy hormone, of course, is the endorphin, which is released pag nag-exercise tayo. Okay? Babalikan natin sila mamaya. Then, before the pandemic, that was in 2019, this was the initiative of the St. Therese Church in Los Baños. Nandun kasi yung mag-asawa, the pediatrician and the dermatologist who were based in Los Baños. And they invited medical doctors from UPPGH, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Medicine. I think 5 sila. And parish priests and lay workers, evangelicals like me, faculty members and students. Tapos parents and grandparents. What I liked about this workshop was those from the UPPGH divided us into groups and gave us composite. Parang nag-case study kami, may composite. Real life cases pero they made it composite. Tapos we were made to answer questions like, is something wrong with this teenager? So nagulat yung mga kagrupo ko kasi sabi ko, no, there's nothing wrong with her. I think it's the parents who are problematic. And then the facilitator from UPPGH affirmed my analysis of the case. So nagulat yung mga parents and grandparents na kagrupo ko. Sabi nila, paano ko daw nalaman? Sabi ko kasi, sinasabi yan sa akin ng mga estudyante ko. Okay, so again, I hope parents, please pay attention. And at least in Los Baños, these are the pediatrician told us that these are the causes that he noticed ng depression among his patients. Ang youngest niya na patient ay 7-year-old, then the 13-year-old who committed suicide because the father confiscated the cell phone. Okay? So number 1 daw is dysfunctional families. Number 2, non-traditional families, financial stress. Notice, itong financial stress na to, talagang papasok din siya sa situation ng COVID. Stressful parenting. And then they tried to classify the parenting styles like authoritative, authoritarian, the permissive, and ano yung isa, yung walang pakialam na parent, non-involved parents. Then the impact of technology, I will dwell on that in a little while. The change in the educational system. Of course, when we went online, talagang kitang-kita mo talaga, nag-spike din yung depression. Okay. The week before we went on quarantine, I attended this launching, and the one who gave his testimony was my student. Okay. Shari is student of the Open University. Inconvenient silence yung topic. And the one who opened the program was from the University Health Service. Sabi niya, oo nga, kasi alam ko yan kasi sa amin, sa overwork din daw yung mga doctors sa University Health Service sa pag-entertain ng mga cases. Okay? And if I may mention, ano yung common naman na mode ng suicide ng mga students ko, it's hanging. Yung isa na talagang meron akong certificate pinakita ng mother sa akin kasi nagpapaalam hindi daw maka-exam yung anak. It's multiple ingestion of a high-grade antibiotic. Buti na save siya at hindi siya namatay. And I'm glad na okay na yung bata ngayon. Okay? But it's a tale as old as time. Kumbaga, I stumbled upon this half an hour in a convent. It's one act play by our national artist for theater. And there is a theater in Diliman named after him, the Wilfrido Maria Guerrero Theater. 1934 niya sinulat, 1937 na palabas, So una sa TV and then pinalabas finally sa teatro. Now, can I show you some parts of the script? Actually, maiksi lang siya. I selected parts. Kasi nung binabasa ko, sabi ko, bakit parang, paano niya naisip to? 1934, ganito na yung lumalabas dun sa mga cases namin sa depression. Okay, ang characters, notice na pinalabas to sa Miriam College 2019, before the pandemic. Apat lang yung characters. Yolanda is a 16-year-old student dun sa Catholic school. Then the Mother Superior. Then yung pinakakampi ni Yolanda is Sister Vitalis and another sister, Sister Teresa. Okay? So, ito yung sinasabi ni Mother Superior nung pinatawag niya. Kumbaga sa atin, pinatawag ka sa principal's office. Well, Yolanda, I'm surprised at your poor conduct lately. For the past month and a half, I've been receiving nothing but bad reports from the sisters. Ito na, poor scholarship, rebellion, disobedience, disorderly conduct, quarrels with your classmates, all sorts of complaints. I highlighted in red yung mga na-observe din namin sa mga estudyante namin. Okay? You were never like this before, so there's a change, no? Noticeable change. Since you came here to study 5 years ago, you've always behaved well. Rather gloomy, it's true, but quiet and studious, never gave us trouble except occasionally, of course. Last year, you were just as good as the previous year. No, not now. Now that I come to think of it, I began noticing, okay, in fairness, may na-notice naman si Mother Superior, that you acted strangely in October, I think it was. No, I remember now, just after your arrival. So she wasn't sure. And this school year, it's only August now, your conduct has become disgraceful. Sister Teresa left an hour ago, informing me of your refusal to take your lunch this morning. Ayaw kumain. You didn't like the fried chicken, she said. Naalala ko yung case sa UPPGH na sabi daw nung isang medical student, kasi Doc, hindi na masarap ang Jollibee. Okay. And Sister Gertrudis told me last night that you also refused to play in the games yesterday and the day before. Wala nang physical activity. It is for your own physical welfare that you're obliged to take part in some games daily. At your age, you should be more responsible. Nako, guilty din ako dyan. Kasi may mga linya ako na, this is non-linear programming. I assume that you already know your linear programming as a prerequisite. Yung pala, na-affect sila dun sa statement na yun. Ma'am, huwag kang mag-expect. Nakalimutan na namin. Okay? So, guilty ako in some sense na may linya din akong ganyan. How can I make you understand, Mother, sabi ng bata, that I'm not bad. I just can't explain what's wrong with me. Di niya rin maintindihan, di niya makapa. It was only during this past summer vacation that I noticed a change in me. I don't even know what the change is. Okay? Probably your health is poor. Do you sleep well? Hinighlight ko in blue kasi in fairness, magandang tanong yan. Yan din ang unang tinatanong ng mga healthcare workers kung nakakatulog ka. Okay? It isn't my health, Mother. Ito na. Only people in bad health are moody and sad-looking like you. Nag-classify na siya na sad-looking, nako, maano ang health mo. I can't explain it clearly, but at times I feel restless, I feel discouraged, and at other times gay and carefree. Para siyang nagsiswing ng mood, no? But hardly anything cheers me up or gives me pleasure. Wala na. Common yan sa mga estudyante ko. I find that the friends I had now bore me. Lahat boring na, wala nang interesting. And that the books I used to read have become dull and insipid. That the things I used to take great pleasure in are now uninteresting. Kaya nga, 1934 niya sinulat. Naririnig ko ito lagi sa mga patients namin. I don't understand it, Mother. Okay? Ito namang si Mother Superior, medyo impatient na. Yan ba ang explanation mo for your poor behavior during the last month? Di syempre na-exasperate na rin si Yolanda. Please, Mother, try to understand. I'm trying to understand, Yolanda. I can just imagine yung severity ng kanyang voice. How can I help it if I seem unhappy or if I act as I do? Try to be cheerful then. Try to smile. Parang positive thinking to. Try to see the sunny side of life. Stop dwelling on morbid things like psychology, for instance. Biruin mo. I remember that kasi when I was younger, fundamental kasi yung background ko. I was told na evil daw yung psychology. The pastor told us, evil yung psychology. You should pray more, my child. But I do. It helps me little. Okay? What can be the matter with you then? Tapos paulit-ulit, I don't know. My dear child, don't tell me that that is your sole excuse. Okay? Tapos, nung umalis na si Mother Superior, pinakausap niya yung kakampi niya, si Sister Vitalis. Tinanong kasi, nag-trigger kasi na talagang kailangan na nilang disiplinahin, and the disciplinary measure here was expulsion. So, sabi ni Sister Vitalis, bakit ka kasi nakipag-usap dun sa male servant? Kasi isa sa rule ng kanilang school ay hindi makikipag-usap sa male servant. There was this male servant na nag-aaral ng law sa gabi, nagtatrabaho dun sa school ng daytime. Tapos, and then Yolanda talks about the father. Bago niya dinescribe bakit siya nakikipag-usap dun sa lalaking servant. Sabi niya kay sister, he scolds me for the most trivial thing. He thought I was lazy while I was at home during the last summer vacation. He nagged me, kept finding fault with me constantly. Stop daydreaming and reading books. These words kept ringing in my ears. Pag sabi niya nito, nabagsak yung rosary ni Sister Vitalis. Okay? Kaya ayokong bumalik sa probinsya. And when Mother Superior tells him of the things I've done here, he'll make my life miserable. And I'll be lonely there, also lonely. By the way, yung nanay ni Yolanda namatay kasi. Kaya father na lang niya yung parent. He probably doesn't understand you, my child. Tapos sabi niya, I know, neither does Mother Superior. Pero bakit? Bakit hindi nila ako maintindihan? So, eto na yung explanation niya. Pero tignan niyo yung connection ha, mamaya kasi yung father niya is emotionally distant. And I don't care what he is, sabi niya kay Sister Vitalis. At least he was decent to me, referring to the male servant. I needed someone whom I could talk to and who would love me or like me. Oh yes, just like me. For years now, I've craved affection, the affection which I never got at home since Mother died. How my heart thirsts for it. And when I got this chance, I snatched it hungrily, greedily. Because I needed affection, because I needed love. You're the only ones who have been kind to me here, you, sister, and he, only he and you. He understood me, he never laughed at me, and he liked me. I'm not ashamed to say it, sister. Yes, he loved me, but believe me, we did nothing wrong. As God is my witness, we did nothing wrong. Kaso, wala eh. Tinawag na nila yung tatay, in-expel nila. So, on the way down the stairs, nagpakamatay na si Yolanda. So, it's a very, as early as 1934, diniscuss na. Although yung iba, ini-insist ng mga madre na, baka nag-aksidente lang yun. She did not do it deliberately. Pero parang, I think, if you read the entire script, obvious naman. Kasi lahat nanginginig na sila dun sa dulo. Okay? So yon. Now, how would you describe a depressed person? I got the descriptions from the exact words of Charmaine Buencamino in the Julia Buencamino project. Ganito ba? Okay. Ang mahirap kasi ngayon sa depression, it wears many faces. It's not always dark rooms and crying endlessly. So for example, itong mga sunshine, bubbly na personalities could be high-functioning depressive. Okay, remember this description ha. Later we will try to recall them. And then, it's not always tears. It's the brightest face in the room. It can be a mask, the happy, the bubbliness. Okay, I'd like to thank an ISAK friend also, si Ibo, for this was taken at their pink house at Pleasantville. Kapitbahay kasi nila. Look at this girl, no? Very promising. Yung mahilig siya kay Garci at kay Pinky, yun ang mga pangalan ng pusa nila. Okay? Very affectionate. Tapos, yun, may kalaro siya. I had to cover the face kasi hindi ako nakapagpaalam sa kanya. So ito, doll yung kanyang laruan. Ito yung cat. Okay. Then she grew up to be, she went to the learning place in Los Baños for 5 years. And then they moved to Manila. So you must have seen her act. Very, very natural yung actings niya. And she, in Oh My God, she is sorry, where am I? She was the beshi of everyone. Sorry. Of Janela Salvador. Okay, so that's a scene of her and Janela. Okay, the parents are veteran character actors and they also appear on TV. Okay, Shemaine, Noni, and their youngest, Julia, at Niklat event. So this is Julia, and this is the exact words. These are the exact words of her mother. Who would have thought that along with those gifts, kasi she's the one who paints, who acts, who dances, and all that, would be a brain that would cause her so much pain. So she was only 15 years old when she committed suicide. And the Buen Caminos have since then taken on this Julia Buen Camino project as an advocacy. And the 2015 yun, and soon after, they played the role of as parents of a depressed character, si Maine Mendoza. Okay. When they launched the project, they were very clear with their aim to create safe spaces for young people to talk about the invisible illness. Okay. Then they have this Julia's bench. The original is at the learning place where she went to school. And it's a neutral space where judgments are suspended and one can start to ask for help on anything that bothers them at home or in school. So they can just talk about whatever is bothering them. Okay? And of course, nandun yung mga artworks ni Julia, mga origami. They had a big launch at CCP also. And from the blog, look at the exact words. Kasi parang nag-psychological autopsy sila after she died. After naka-recover na ng konti, ang tapang din ng parents, no? Kasi they went through all the journals of Julia. I underlined some parts. No, I was happy with my body. Sometimes I hated it with every fiber of my being. I was not a girl. So it's a gender issue. Until 3 a.m. siya nagtutwitter. I self-harmed. So nagka-cut siya. Then the last line is be kind to yourselves. So the mother had wrote this dun sa kanilang Facebook. It is ironic for Julia to have written this as the last sentence in her suicide post. Why couldn't she be kind to herself? I kept asking this until I learned more about her invisible illness. So that's where I got the thing. Of course, we know we have an invisible illness, the COVID-19, the coronavirus. And if you start to, kasi hindi ko to napanood, sayang nga pero may mga naka-post naman, hindi lang buo. Nung January 5 lang naka-screen. So again, mental illness can be invisible. So you can have anxiety, pero you sound confident, etc. You can have depression, but make jokes, etc. So let's go back to Julia's posts. Okay? Ano siya, nakaplano na 2 days after. So pag nababasa nito, that means I've succeeded in killing myself. Mom and Dad, I wish you would have noticed, but it's not your fault, I promise. I know you love me and I love you too. I'm sorry for bringing this to you guys. Then she had this, assigned female at birth, identified as non-binary. Surprise, Mom and Dad, I know, ganyan. So, and ito yung nakalagay dun sa Julia's bench. Siya din yung nag-drawing. Napakaganda ng kanyang tula, no? Yung still, ito yung will you still love me? So I will reproduce it here. It's very symmetric. It's almost like a haiku, except that the second line is, instead of 7, it consists of 10 syllables. When my mask shatters and you see how broken I really am, will you still love me? So yung pag tinignan niyo yung kay Laya, meron siyang hashtag unmask, no, Laya? So when you see how broken I really am, will you still love me? So eto na, naging project na nila sa Julia Bencamino, When My Mask Shatters. It's a workshop for self-awareness. Then will you still love me? So they go around schools and institutions. Ito yung drawing ni Julia, then they digitized it. Tapos nagjo-journaling workshop sila, so importante yung journaling. No? So how did the parents begin to understand Julia? So this was now October 23. The psychological autopsy was done by an ISAK fellow. Now they went public because they want to help others. She seemed so normal, had so many friends, was very active. We learned that she had a disease which would hide itself so well. Kaya niyang i-hide kasi ang taas nga ng high, very high yung IQ at EQ niya. She wished we noticed it, but unfortunately we didn't because we didn't know the signs. Okay? So, ang depression naman isn't always suicide. May suicidal ideation lang, pero hindi naman necessarily na nagsasucceed, no? So, let's try to compare, and I can see this in my students, no? Yung iba kasi, kunyari yung mga ibang faculty, ay, KSP lang yan, ganyan. Pero pag nag-suicide na, ay naku, how tragic. Tapos everyone feels irritated, nagpapapansin lang yan. Excuse lang yan niya para lang ma-extend ang deadline. Then when the suicide is committed, ako, everyone feels bad. Tapos ito, ina-avoid, pero lahat naman nandun sa wake. Okay, everyone dismisses the signs, parang nagbubulag-bulagan ba or hindi na pinupursue. Okay, everyone wishes they saw the signs. No one believes they'll ever do it. Ay, nako, hindi yan seryoso. Pero sabi nung taga UPPGH, nako, kahit pabiro, anuhin nyo yan. Pansinin nyo, sabi nila. Everyone wishes they hadn't done it. Okay? So if someone is suicidal, please take them seriously. It could save their life. Okay? So I got this from the Bencamino Project, supporting those left behind. And I would like to commend those who have been supporting those who have been left behind. And Ibo, I'd like to thank you for your initiative in bringing the bench to your village. Kasi doon naman lumaki talaga si Julia as a child. No? So the Bencaminos and the members of the community. Okay. I'd like us to pay attention to this. The illness can be changed into wellness by changing one word, the I into the we. Okay? So hindi pwedeng nag-iisa lang ng magbabattle yung nagsasuffer ng illness na to. Kaya nga ang ganda ng song ni Laya, di ba? I'm here, hindi ka nag-iisa. Okay? So we heal as one. We keep hearing that. So it's about building a community that gives support to the kids, making them feel they are accepted even if they are broken. That's Charmaine's words. That it is all right to have mental condition and feel that you're accepted and it's not something you should be ashamed of. So Laya, I think, sang at that, tama ba Laya? And I hope you can visit her page. Laya is a survivor. The death of Julia was a wake-up call for Laya. Okay. Of course, Laya's mother is the directress of the learning place where Julia went. They are very close friends with the Bencaminos, close family friends. Kaya, kumbaga, one good thing that came out of that tragedy is nagising si Laya at nandito siya ngayon kasama natin and advocating mental health. So ito yung Julia Bencamino Project. They are I'm not sure kung anong school to. Maybe Laya can tell us later. So that's Shamaine and Arioder brother-sister team. Si Yani at saka si Laya. So they are advocates. And let's go back, no? Kasi kahit naman adults talaga na de-depress, pero bakit karamihan sa youth? Remember when I was young, nag-search din ako ng identity, sino ako. And then there are existential crises like, where am I going? What am I doing? What is the meaning of life? Na nag-aatake din sa mga young adults, mga nasa midlife, ganyan, di ba? Kaya nagti-trigger din talaga siya ng depression. So ang tanong ko is, what do we really teach our children? Do we tell them how marvelous they are, that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, that they are creatures of intrinsic worth, kahit ano pa man? I remember there is an affirmation, the very basic of relationships, there is nothing you have done, nothing you can do that will make me stop loving you. Okay, and of course, we read this early on, naging Bible study namin to sa SBCF, kaya naging maaga pa na I think I acquired a very healthy self-image because of this. And of course, we can sing, I am a promise, I am a possibility, like Kukay would sing when she was just a young girl. Okay? So,
Ma'am Alleli.
Yeah, i-wrap up na natin.
Yes po,
i-wrap
please.
up na natin. Ang ano ko lang ay, gusto kong mag-focus dun sa paano natin i-prevent, no? I'd like you to watch the Netflix na Social Dilemma. Kasi this was introduced to me by a friend. Ito yung mga negative impacts ng technology. But let me just, to the parents, let me just warn you about all of this. I got this from Queen Alice Wired, Growing Up Wired. So hearing loss, injuries, tendonitis, neck and back pain. There is such a thing as tech neck. Tignan nyo nga paano kayo gumamit ng cellphone nyo. So ano ang, kaya talagang marami tayong mga ailments. Poor sleep. I cannot overemphasize this. The first thing that goes is sleep, sabi nga ni Dr. Ben Vista. And a friend shared to me this TED Talk, thank you Lily, na life support system natin, ang sleep. Ayan, ang mahirap pa sa ibang sickness, nanganganak ng ibang sickness, ang dami nga yung mga dinadialysis ng mga bata. Sedentary na. Tapos ito, naalala niyo, maraming nabunggo dito sa Pokemon. And the digital cocaine, lack of social skills among our youth. Remember this? May nagpakamatay, although that's in Italy. And then of course this one. There is such a thing as fear of missing out, na naiinggit sila dahil konti lang yung nag-like sa kanila or nag-post na nagbakasyon sa ganitong lugar. Bakit sila, ako hindi? So hindi nakadepende yun dapat sa number of likes, kundi again, we should emphasize that they are valued, the children. And of course, gusto ko lang din i-emphasize na porque hindi tayo depressed at wala tayong ailment ay good health na tayo. Kasi ang good health covers all of these things. Okay? Ano yung protective factors? Dapat balanse. Tignan nyo nga kung gaano kayo, kasi pag less than 8 hours yung sleep, pag pinanood nyo yung TED Talk, alam nyo na kung anong mangyayari. Okay. I'd like you to visit this. Maiiksi lang sila, how it affects your emotions, how sleep boosts your memory and all that. Wala tayong excuse kasi kung busy tayo, mas busy yung si Associate Justice na namatay. She had time for opera, she had time for exercise. In fact, her trainer paid tribute to her when she was at the nag-push up kasi nagpo-push up siya. Tapos, kailangan tignan natin yung pagkain. I remember the Lola and Lolo of Laya had to take care of the balanced diet of Laya while she was healing. Ito, kahit makalimutan nyo na lahat, wag lang to. A banana a day keeps the psychologist away, sabi ni Dr. Renz. Okay, tignan nyo, kamukha niya yung shape ng banana, yung smiling. Antidepressant siya because of the high level of tryptophan, which converts into serotonin. This is true also for the green leafy vegetables. This is the happy mood thing. And since malapit naman ang ISAK dito, siguro after this, kumain kayo dyan. And Laya was a volunteer here. It's more than just a cafe. They serve very healthy food. And of course, gusto ko rin lang i-emphasize, bakit nakakapagod yung mga Zoom meetings? Ang tawag ko minsan, zombie na kami. Dahil segunda mano siya, when you try to look at this book, which this book was given to me by my prayer partner, Marie Vic, thank you, in 2010, sinasabi niya, si Dr. Cooper, na hindi nakakapagod pag real object yung tinitignan. Pero pagka digitized siya, the mind works double time. Kasi second hand yung senses, made of pixels kasi yung images. Kaya tayo napapagod. Okay? So anong solution doon? We should have first-hand sensory experiences. So notice that the Mental Health Awareness Week has to do with the environment, or have a good laugh, read this. Ironically, the real vet here suffered also from clinical depression. Pero pag binabasa mo yung kanyang book, matatawa ka. So music therapy, we all know the story of David when he was brought to King Saul na napapacify siya. And of course, let's go back. I'll wrap it up now. Ang mundo na ito ay VUCA world. Alam na yon ni Francisco Baltasar. At alam na rin, sinabi na rin sa atin sa Bible, ito ang magiging description. Kaya pwede ba nating sabihin na, oo nga, may vision naman tayo. Ano ba yung vision natin for our young people and the citizens of this country? Do we have enough understanding? Can we be more clear about our expressions of love? And then are we adaptable to whatever situation that may come? And I must mention this, most of my students who have problems really have fathers who are absentees. They may be there, most of them are OFWs, but if they are there physically, they are emotionally distant. Okay. So siguro ang ano ko lang sa parents ay ibalance lang yung firmness and kindness. And from Charmaine herself, please watch your child closely. The symptoms don't manifest as easily as a fever or rash. And seek professional help if necessary. Again, from Julia, I'm okay. Ito yung laging sagot ng mga bata pag tinatanong ng magulang. Pinapaniwalaan naman ng magulang na okay sila. And gusto ko lang sabihin din na pag sinabi nilang okay, mag-probe kayo kasi it's not necessarily okay 100%. Okay? At saka, sinabi din ng paborito niyang Korean novela, di ba? So, sana ma-prevent natin yung suffering in silence. Ito galing to kay Layana. And the Bible also tells us we can only love others as we love ourselves. Hindi pwedeng, hindi natin mahal, wala tayong maibibigay. Kung may red flag sa depression, meron din akong red flag para sa good health. Rest, eat, drink, mag-hydrate, relax, embrace, delight. Touch, interaction, embrace. Remember, mag-journal, keep track, exercise, and disengage from technology. Okay? And again, if you read poetry, Albert Camus says, I really realized through it all that in the midst of winter I found there was within me an invincible summer. So it takes a village to raise a child, says the African proverb. My version is, it takes a caring community to nurture healthy families. And as the High School Musical says, we are all in this together. Because we do all things together, all things improve. Look at the first-hand sensory experience. Our daily meat and bread tastes better. Trees greener, rain wetter. And I'll borrow again the Amanda Morgan lines that even as we grieve over those who committed suicide, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hope, even as we tired, we tried. Nakakapagod talaga to. That will all forever be tied together, victorious. That's it, Marie. We have a nation to build. We'll rise at one. As one.
Yes. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Alleli. I just want to assure you that our audience are so engaged. They are still here with us. And what a presentation that is. There's a lot of good information to chew over. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Alleli. And of course, I'd like to bring in Laya now. Yes, opo. Is there anything you want to add, Ma'am Alleli? Yeah, I just want to bring in Laya at this point.
Yeah, bring Laya in.
Yes, opo. So, Laya, we have questions for you, Ma'am Alleli. But before that, maybe I'd like to ask si Laya. Laya, you are so brave. I just want to thank you for coming out. Sharing your experience. And of course, nagpupunta ka pa, pre-pandemic to different schools, raising awareness. Napakalaking tulong na nun just to raise awareness. And it takes a brave soul to say, no, let me tell you my story para magsama-sama tayo. We are all in this together. Your song is so fit, no? They're not alone. You are there. We are here with you. So tell us about your experience. Ano yung mga naramdaman mo noon, and how did, of course, sabi mo nga yung wake-up call mo was, of course, tragically yung nangyari kay Julia, but maybe you can tell your story to our viewers para naman maka-identify sila at matutunan din nila, no, how to navigate yung ganitong klase ng challenges, itong mental health issues na ito. Laya?
Thank you po, Miss Marie. And before I say anything, I would like to thank ISAK for inviting me here tonight. I'm very grateful to all of you, and I'm very happy to be able to reach out to people who are also struggling with an invisible illness. So maraming salamat po sa pag-invite sa akin tonight. So yung kwento ko, actually I was, since I was a kid, siguro the earliest I could remember was I was 8 or 9 years old. Nakaka-experience na ako ng bouts of anxiety and depression, but during that time, syempre, I had no idea what it was, and I had no understanding sa mental health. But yun nga, since I was a kid, I already experienced that. I went through emotions that I couldn't understand, and I just suppressed all of it kasi nga hindi ko siya maintindihan, and of course, there was also shame to open up to anyone, to my friends or my family, because I grew up in a very loving and supporting family. So really, there was no reason for me to feel depressed or to feel anxious. So tinago ko siya for so many years. And then when I was in high school, mas lumalala yung mga nararamdaman ko, mas nahirapan na akong pigilan siya. And then I remember for so long, for days, day until night, ang lagi kong iniisip is I want the pain to end. I've had suicidal ideations, I would harm myself, and then akala ko tapos na. I mean, I felt really hopeless. I just really wanted everything to end. But then, nung 2015, when we heard about Julia Buencamino's suicide, and then we went to her funeral, naging wake-up call po talaga sa akin yun. Kasi when I was there and I saw her family members, nakita ko kung gaano kasakit pala yun for parents, for the siblings. Na-realize ko kung gaano kamali pala yung mga nararamdaman ko. And na-realize ko na hindi ko siya gustong gawin sa family ko or sa friends ko. So after that, after going to Julia's funeral, when we went back home, I opened up finally to my parents. I told them about everything that I was feeling, and then I told them that I needed help. So dun po yung pinaka-major turning point ng mental health journey ko, kasi I started to consult a psychiatrist, and then little by little, I started to be open to my friends and to my family. And grabe lang po talaga yung support ng family ko, sobra. Na dati ayoko mag-open up sa kanila kasi natatakot ako that they will judge me and that they will tell me na nag-iinarte lang ako, wala namang dahilan para maramdaman ko lahat yon. But I was wrong kasi when I opened up to them, grabe yung acceptance nila sa akin. And grabe yung love na pinakita nila, na they really showed me that they will do everything to help me to recover. So yun po yung story ko. And then I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder pala. Bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety.
Ayan. So Laya, thank you so much. No? And if I may add, I think this is an ongoing journey, hindi ba? It's not like you're done with it at this point and then hindi na siya babalik. No? So it's important na ipaalala sa mga kasama natin. And so, Laya, I really salute you. Every day you wake up and you decide, and you know your family are there to help you. You decide to be, you choose to be well. It's really brave of you. And of course, sabi nga ni Ma'am Alleli, maraming suporta. Meron tayong medication, meron tayong pamilya, meron tayong support system that helps us. May question po si Sir Al Calixto. Hello, Sir Al. I know he's joining us all the way from Visayas. Sabi niya, may belief among evangelicals na ang anumang uri ng depression ay spiritual in nature lahat. paano po natin itatrato ang sinasabi ng Biblia at itong ibinabahagi ng ating resource speaker. I think I will table that comment or question for Ate Melba later. No? Siya na ang sumagot niyan. Hindi ba, Ma'am Alleli? Baka sabihin ni Ma'am Alleli, binatuhan ko siya ng theological question. So, iwan na natin mo yan kay Ate Melba. But there's an interesting question here from Tim. Napakaganda ng tanong ni Tim. So, in Laya's case, I salute you, Laya. Siya ang nagsabi na, I need help. And she's the one who reached out. Pero paano naman daw po, kung ang tanong ni Kim, paano kung yung pamilya ang nagtitry mag-reach out sa tao na nakita nila nagiging self-destructive na yung coping mechanism ng tao, pero ayaw niyang makipag-usap, dinireject ng tao mismo yung healthy discussion. Ano daw po ang pwede kaya nilang gawin, Ma'am Alleli?
Laya, ikaw muna. Yung family is supportive pero ayaw nung bata. Actually, pag tinignan niyo yung kwento ng Gwen Camino, napansin nila yung cuts na nagka-cut siya. So they asked, tapos dinismiss niya, parang nakipag-argue pa siya sa tatay na sabi niya, ano lang ako sa school, parang gano'n. Hindi, ang regret nila is they should have insisted. Kasi na siya, life-threatening na siya eh. They should have. Tapos yung mga friends ni Julia, alam din daw nila. Pero syempre dahil may pledge of confidentiality sila, hindi nila, sabi daw ni Julia, sasabihin ko sa parents, hindi naman niya sinabi. So parang ang advice nila is, if it is, kunyari friend ko yon at ayaw niyang ipaalam sa family, I remember kasi I was asked to go to PGH because a friend of mine was suicidal and the psychiatrist said, you are the support group. You should tell the family. Pag ganun kasi very sensitive nga kasi nga may pledge nga of confidentiality, di ba? So, hindi sasabihin mo sa BFF mo, hindi ko sasabihin sa parents mo. Kaso, pag hindi mo naman sinabi, baka itumuloy naman siya. So, pag matter of life and death, I think, as parents, maggamawa na ng paraan.
Ayun. Salamat, Ma'am Alleli. No? Pag matter of life and death. Okay, I think that's the rule of thumb. Pero siguro, ito itanong sa inyo ni Laya. Sa aming mga viewers, we are extending lang po sandali, because this is such an important topic for us all. Para kay Laya at kay Ma'am Alleli, kanina nabigyan niyo na po, nakapyawan niyo na Ma'am Alleli yung mga preventive, mga preventive measures. Pero in your case, Laya, what were the practices or the things that were really helpful para ma-improve yung mental health mo? Ano yung mga naging magagandang practices? I know that music is one. Napakagaling mong umawit, Laya. Mamaya po sa aming mga viewers, we will play that music again. We will leave you with that song pagkatapos ng integration ni Ate Melba. Pero Laya, what are the things that have really been helpful to you na ginawa mo?
Well, aside from music, kasi yung main form of therapy ko, I also tried other forms of art like watercolor. It's very very therapeutic as well. And syempre, I also exercise kasi sabi din ni Prof. Alleli kanina, exercise really brings out happy hormones. So ang laking bagay po ng exercise. So I exercise every morning. And then I also do meditation. Madami po kayong makikitang mga positive affirmations, mga meditation for anxiety sa YouTube. So even just 5 minutes of that a day is very, very helpful. And then also my diet. Syempre, I try my best to eat clean. But of course, I'm not perfect dito. Minsan, nagmamakdo rin ako or nagja-Jollibee. But as much as I can, I really try to eat clean. Kasi ang laking effect nun sa mental wellness ko. And then sleep. This one is the hardest, the most challenging for me. But it's very, very important to have at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Kasi pag wala ka talagang enough sleep, doon nagsastart yung anxiety, mas malala yung mga depressive episodes ko, mas nati-trigger yung mga manic episodes. So it's really, really, really very, very helpful to have a complete amount of sleep every night.
Ayun. Laya, I think that's important, no? Sabi nga ng isang TED Talk, I'll echo what Ma'am Alleli said, no? Binigyan na tayo ng Diyos ng superpowers, eh. At yan yung ating sleep kasi nagre-repair yung cells natin, even our brain cells, no? Ay nagiging healthy when we sleep. Thank you, Laya. Ma'am Alleli, is there any other thing that you would like to leave our viewers? Kung sila ay mga magulang, sila ay mga guro, o di naman kaya ay mga trusted na adults ng mga kabataang ito. Ano yung mga kailangan nating gawin? Ano yung mga sa iyong practice, no, sa iyong experience, what are the best practices? That's what I wanted to ask. Best practices to leave our viewers po.
Yung parents should also model kasi modeling talaga yung they should listen not just with their senses but with their heart. Kasi iba yung lengguwahe talaga ng mga bata. Yung okay nila, hindi okay eh. Kapag learn to, at saka hindi naman kasi pwedeng bigla kang e-entra. Hindi naman, kailangan i-stop, know the love language of your child. That's the first thing. Kung ayaw niya ng touch, baka naman words of affirmation ang gusto niya. So, at saka tingnan niyo din yung parenting style niyo. Baka, kasi di ba sabi nga ni Paul, do not provoke parents, do not provoke your children, ganyan. Yung having a firm center, sabi sa UCM, but soft edges. Yung kailangan i-balance yung firmness and set boundaries as parents, lalo na sa mga young children. Sino ba ang bumibili ng gadget nila? Kasi sinong nag-regulate dapat ng sleeping time nila? Di ba dapat parents? Kung lahat naman nanonood hanggang 12, lahat nag-Facebook, paano mo naman i-impose yung role na yon? At gusto ko lang i-emphasize na yung 8 hours of sleep na sinasabi ay gabi yon, ha? We live by design. Ang God ginawa niyang araw at gabi. Hindi pwedeng i-substitute yung araw na sleep sa gabi. Ask any doctor.
Ayan. Salamat, Ma'am Alleli. Maybe last words from Laya, words of encouragement for our young ones na nanonood at yung mga magulang din siguro na nanonood.
Hello, everyone. So if you are watching today and you are struggling with an invisible illness, whether it be depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, or kahit stress lang yan or heartbreak, I really hope that you continue to keep going and that you be kind to yourself. And also if you are experiencing bouts of anxiety or bouts of depression and you are not open about it, please ask for help. Kahit mag-open up ka lang sa friends mo or sa trusted family member mo, that's a really, really big thing. And pag dumating sa point na nag-share ka na sa friends mo or sa family mo and it still doesn't help, mabigat pa rin yung nafe-feel mo and hindi mo pa rin makontrol yung nararamdaman mo, I think it's best to consult a professional. Please don't be afraid to consult a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a mental health coach, or a mental health provider because it will really, really help you to recover. Madami namang ways ngayon, especially right now na online na lahat. Actually, may mga free mental health consultations pa ngayon na mahanap kayo online. So, nung time ko kasi ang hirap kasi kailangan talaga brave ka, lalabas ka ng bahay, pipila ka sa ospital. But right now, ang daming online resources where you can just really type their website and mag-chat ka lang and then ang dami-dami, sobrang daming resources online that you could check out. Actually, meron nga sa mygolana.net if you want to check that out. They have free consultation services and ang daming mga mental health providers and professionals na willing to listen to you for free. So if you want to try that out, go ahead. It will really, really help you. So yun lang po. Thank you so much for inviting me once again.
Thank you, Laya. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Alleli. Ma'am Alleli, marami po kayong mga kaibigan at mga kasama na nag-hi sa comment section. So I encourage you to look back at our comment section at sagutin niyo sila. Again, there is a Facebook page called Buhay Layana. That's Laya's Facebook page. Para maramdaman naman natin that we are not alone. And sabi nga ng kanta ni Laya, she's there. We are here. Most importantly, siyempre, ang Panginoon kasama natin. At speaking of Panginoon, for our biblical integration, let's let me give now the floor to our dear Ate Melba. Ate Melba, kayo na po.
Salamat, Alleli. Salamat din, Laya, sa inyong mga sharing sa amin na which are very important, no? Kaya in-extend natin yung session na ito. Siguro for all of us who are watching, yung mga mental health issues, nag-umpisa yan doon sa, sabi nga, sa ating consciousness, no? Sa Bible, very clear na to transform ourselves, importante to do two things. Number one, we make a commitment not to be conformed to this world, sabi. Romans 12, no? Verse 2. Kung gusto natin ng pagbabago, we need to get transformed in the renewal of our minds. Kasi maraming pumapasok dyan lalo na yung mga bata ngayon, because we live in a technologically mediated social environment. Sa totoo lang, kanina si Alleli was talking about secondary senses natin sa Zoom and the use of technology na masyadong nakaka-tire kasi nga doble-doble yung pag-ano ng brain, process ng brain. Now, siguro magandang tingnan na we really are in a technologically mediated social environment. Whether we are matanda na, kagaya namin, or young people. So, tingnan yung dangers niyan. And that's why ang scripture also tells us na we have learned to soak ourselves dito sa mga technologies lang, ano? But soak ourselves, unang-una sa creation. That's why maraming doktor sabi, kailangan i-immerse sa nature. And that's ang nature then is healing. Kasi yun ang creational design natin. Tapos yung rest and sleep and all of this, yung mga natural laws na kailangan nating tingnan. In other words, yung ating lifestyle at saka life system, whether we are seniors o tayo ay mga kabataan, importante that we are following yung natural design ng Diyos rather than yung technologically mediated social environment. I remember C.S. Lewis was saying na kailangan we go back to yung tinatawag na primal reality, no? Hindi yung secondary, but yung actual experience natin of each other as friends, as a community. Kaya kami yung mga senior halimbawa, we really miss yung society of our friends kasi iba talaga yung magkakasama kayo kaysa yung nagsusum lang kayo, no? So, I think it's important to hit yung warning na yun ni Alleli na to recognize we are in a technologically mediated social environment. So, i-calibrate yung ating exposure, no? Sa secondary na media. Pangalawa siguro yung we don't get defined by media, by our social environment, by the world's template even of halimbawa what is a successful student, no? Yung sa UP daw part ng pressure kasi nga you have to maintain a certain standard, no? Now that's good to be diligent ng mga estudyante, pero I think we need to also get out of that template, no? Na success means magna cum laude ka dyan, success means ganon-ganon, to the sacrifice na ng sarili nating health, no? O mga relationships. So, importante yung sabi, we get transformed and we get out of the being conformed to the template of how the world works actually. So, importante yung non-conformity. Total mga estudyante naman gusto maging unique and rebellious and whatever, no? So, sabi ng Diyos, isang value yan that we don't conform necessarily. Whether it's technology, yung ML na yan, o kung ano pa, no? We don't conform to the patterns of this world, no? Importante yan. At the same time, we get transformed
by the renewal of our mind. So, ibig sabihin, pinifilter natin ano yung papasok sa ating consciousness. Merong sa Philippians 4:8 sinasabi na we are to what? Immerse ourselves in what is true and lovely and just, no? We think about these things. Ibig sabihin, we have to be very, very careful what we allow into our minds. Kasi ang transformation daw begins with the mind. Doon nag-uumpisa yan sa ating pag-iisip, ating consciousness. So it's important to guard, no? And to keep our minds in Christ Jesus, sabi niya. And to immerse ourselves in a social environment that is, lovely and just and gano'n, no? Yung mga pangit na nakikita natin sa social media, huwag nang pansinin. Yung mga away ng mga tao ideologically sa politika, huwag nang pansinin. In other words, we don't allow ourselves to get so worked up, no? Dito sa mga ganitong bagay. That's how we get transformed, sabi, by the renewal of our minds. At doon naman sa mga pastor and those who are teaching, no, sa simbahan, very clear yung sinasabi ng scripture that when people suffer, we have to learn to look at the signs, but also to weep with those who weep. Kasi ang ating reflex, pag nakikita natin na medyo itong batang ito ay problematic, no? Bakit di siya gumagawa ng homework? Bakit siya lethargic? Bakit siya lazy? Bakit gano'n? Wala siyang appetite for life and so on. It's very easy to preach. Sabi ng scripture, when people are weeping, when people show signs of suffering, depression, and all of this, they do not need preaching. Ang kailangan nila empathy. Yun ang ibig sabihin Sabi, you weep with those who weep. You do not preach to the people who are weeping. Nakita natin doon sa kanta ni Laya, no? Na napaka-importante nung merong kasama. Na merong sasama doon sa process na napakahirap. Na hindi nga nila alam what is happening to them. Laan ako mga bata. No? And that's true. I mean, sabi nga ni Laya doon sa storya niya, it doesn't matter kung ang pamilya mo ay loving and supportive. Although ang preponderance ng evidence, yung mga nadidepress at nagsusuicide, karamihan nasa dysfunctional na family. Pero may mga pamilya talaga na maaayos at normal. Pero at the same time, sabi nga ni Laya, you can suffer as a child, no? At hindi ka maintindihan masyado, ay mabuti meron siyang parents na very, very supportive nung malaman na yung kanyang condition. Now, I think it's important, once we detect any kind of suffering sa mga bata o sa anybody na nasa paligid natin, it's important na we, first of all, have an empathetic weeping. We cry together with them. Even hindi natin alam what's happening. Kasi most of us don't even know what's happening nga naman. But yung mga parents, we don't know what's happening. So, ang sabi ng scripture, you just weep. Once na sense mo na yung bata is suffering something, you weep with them. And that communicates. Hindi so much yung salita, hindi so much yung mga preaching natin. Ang sabi ng scripture, ang first thing that is being asked of us is a feeling. No? It is not the talking. So, importante na mag-grasp natin uli yung anong ibig sabihin ng, first of all, to react in a way that weeps, that empathizes, even if hindi natin naiintindihan. Dahil napaka-importante nga sa mga bata, and even for anybody na who suffers, no, emotionally, mentally, na alam nila na there is somebody there. No, sabi nga nung kanta ni Laya, I am here. No? In other words, if you don't know where to go, andito ako. And I think that's all that we need to say to our young people who are suffering. first reaction, first response is always you weep with those who weep. In other words, malaman lang nila na merong isa who is willing na samahan sila sa kanilang whatever it is that they suffer. So, and of course, I mean, we are told, si Jesus mismo, nasabi ni Jesus, you come to me. Kung ang feeling mo nag-iisa ka, sabi niya, you come to me, all of those who are heavy laden. In other words, I will give you rest. Hindi death, no? But yung tunay na peace inside. Yung inner kind of life that He gives to us. Yung sabi niya, yun ang invitation. Come to me, all you who are heavy laden. So siguro yun din ang invitation sa atin, for all of us, no? That first of all, we learn to come out, kumbaga, of this technologically mediated social environment, no? Pagkailangan. And also we learn to come to Him who can actually give us what? Rest in all of our heaviness. So, and get out of the, being conformed to all of these patterns, no? Of our life system sa ngayon, and simply be transformed by immersing ourselves in the kind of environment na gusto ng Diyos para sa atin. So yun lang po. And we would like to especially thank the young people who may be listening. We would like to invite you to consider, no, that there is somebody who will weep with you, and there is somebody who knows at hindi kayo nag-iisa and actually invites you to come to Him. So, yun lang po.
Maraming salamat, Ate Melba. To our viewers, salamat po for sticking with us. We will leave you now with the song of Laya. Pero paalala lang po, sa Thursday, magkita-kita ulit tayo. We will be looking back at our learning sa EDSA as we celebrate its anniversary. Salamat muli, Ms. Laya. Prof. Alleli, God bless you po. To our viewers, God bless you. Bye-bye.
1, 2, 1, 2.
'Cause